not going to work. You've got to have everyone like helping each other to the top of the hill so that you can just flick the boulder and it rolls down. Hello everyone, it's another episode of Tea Time with Jay. Today's tea, it's not even tea, it's a drink called New Tonic. I'm not sponsored by this or anything, but I do like these. I was doing some work last year in Nashville. There's a couple of sessions that required a lot of brain work, and this stuff helped me get through. It's like an energy drink that doesn't have loads of crap in it. It is very high in caffeine though, and I don't do very well with caffeine. It kind of tends to make me a bit anxious from time to time. But I had like half of one of these yesterday, and I got so much done through the day. I felt like I had this kind of focus superpower. So anyway, that's what I'm drinking. This isn't an advert. It wasn't meant as an advert, but it is good stuff. Today, I'm going to talk to you about something that I think is very important that a lot of people overlook. And I'm speaking directly to people who are in bands, trying to start bands. If you're at the beginning of a creative career. So it's a hard question that I'm going to ask, and I think it's very important to consider this because it's very easy to get lost in the noise around what you're doing if you don't ask yourself this up front. And here's the question. Is this project, is this band, the band? Right? Is it the band? And what I mean by that is it the career band? Is it the thing that is actually going to be what you're doing for the long term? And you know that when you find the right project. So I obviously was in bands before Tesseract. I was in, can't even remember how many bands, like 3 or 4 bands, maybe even 5 bands. High school band, my first originals band after high school, a side project that was like a blues covers band, another band that I got into after I got kicked out of my original band, one more band after that, Araya, and then Tesseract. So Tesseract is band number 7, okay? So right at the beginning, the very first band that you're in, you tend to think, oh my God, this is awesome, because it's so much fun. It's generally with your mates, and it's so much fun, and it's awesome, and you learn loads. And it's rare that that becomes like the band that is like a career band. There's few examples where that's true. There are some, don't get me wrong, but it's kind of a lottery win if that's the case. More often you have to kind of go through a handful of bands and get a bunch of different experiences to land on the one that ends up being your career band. And what happened with Tesseract was I heard Ackle's demos online, and this is in like 2003, 2004. And when I heard them, I was so convinced that this stuff was different and original, and there wasn't loads of stuff out there that sounded like it. If this guy had the right people around him, this project could just fly. It could just go. And that was the strongest evidence that I'd ever, not evidence is the wrong word, but internal evidence. Like it felt so real. It didn't feel like delusion. It felt like the most obvious opportunity for me to take, and it was some of the best music I'd heard, genuinely. And when I found out it was just a guy in a bedroom making these demos and putting them on the internet, oh my gosh, I had to be involved with it. So I did everything I could to reach out to him. So I just remember that feeling, like overwhelming feeling that this was the way I had to go. And if you think about the project that you're in now, ask yourself that question. Do you feel that way about it? Do you feel as though this is the project? Or do you feel as though maybe it's a stepping stone project on the way to bigger ones, on the way to the actual thing that you're trying to find? And generally when you inquire, when you ask that question of yourself, the honest answer comes up. The honest answer presents itself, because you know if the project you're in is going towards a future where everyone that's currently in the project is still in the project? I.e., like, is there a member in your band who's maybe a little bit flaky? Is there someone who's like just maybe more interested in developing the thing that they've got outside of the band, and the band is more of a hobby, whereas the other guys in the band, it's the thing they're trying to do? If that's the case, then you need to replace that person. It's kind of as harsh as that. If you're trying to turn this thing into something and you're convinced it's got potential to be, you know, a decent live act and you got a career out of it, then if there's a person that isn't feeling that same way, got to find a new person. It's a hard thing, especially when they're friends, especially when there's a relationship and a history there. It's so difficult. But for every day, for every practice session you have, for every new song that you write where that person is still in the band and you haven't done something about this problem that is going to be a problem, at some point you're going to need to replace this person. You're kind of delaying the inevitable. So that's worth thinking about. And also, I was in a band, kind of an interim band, where I'd been kicked out of the band that I was in. That was one of my original bands, which broke me at the time, if I'm honest. I was in this band with a bunch of people that I looked up to. They could play music that was interesting and new. They were a bit older than me, and then after a couple of years, one practice session, they just turned around and they're like, "Oh, Jay, I don't think it's working." And it came out of the blue for me. I had an inkling that something wasn't right, but I wasn't quite sure what it was. I was young, right? I didn't really know what was going on. And I got kicked out. So I just went full in, and I practiced so much, like 3-4 times a week. I was behind the kit practicing, and I found this other band, like friends of a friend, and the music was great. The guys were lovely, but I didn't honestly think at my core, like deep down, I didn't think it was going to be a career band. I kind of realized this was going to be an interim band. It was something that was a step that I needed to get to where I needed to get to. And I tried to make it the band. I tried to like mold these guys into what I wanted a band to be. But it was never going to be that. And there was so much resistance because it wasn't what they wanted. And that's really important. You know, if you're trying to push people, if you're just pushing this boulder up a hill, it's not going to work. You've got to have everyone like helping each other to the top of the hill so that you can just flick the boulder and it rolls down. That's what you got to do. And that's its own kind of hard work. It's not easy to do that. Tesseract is a lot of hard work. You don't know what that hard work is going to be until you're involved in it, but it presents itself differently. And the hard work now is maintaining my physical and mental health so that touring doesn't destroy me, and prioritizing health and nutrition and recovery on tour, because otherwise you get destroyed. And the writing and the marketing and everything that goes into being in Tesseract, right? You know, you got to write music, you've got to think about the message you're putting out there. All of that stuff becomes its own challenge. But the people that are involved in the project are 100% pointing in the right direction. We're all pointing forwards. No one's thinking, I might need to exit this. I might need to do something else. No one's thinking like that. So ask yourself that question about the project that you're in. If you're in a band, if you've been in the band for a while, it doesn't seem to be getting anywhere. Why is that? What could that be? Is it the people? Is it the music? What's original about the band? Is there anything original about the band? Or are you just kind of doing what everyone else is doing and hoping? They're hard questions to sit with because you have to be honest. But if you don't sit with those questions, there's no chance. That's, at least in my experience, that's what it is. And I'm telling you this because I feel as though I got very lucky, because I knew the answer to those questions, but I wasn't intelligent enough to ask them earlier on in my career. I knew the answer, because it was staring me in the face, but I was pushing hard back against the truth, against that answer, which I didn't want to hear, because the alternate situation for me at the time was stay in this shitty job that I've got that has no future that I'm interested in, that depresses me so much at the thought of being in this job forever, because I'm qualified for nothing. You know, all I'd done was music. I'm qualified for nothing. So the band that I'm in has got to be the thing. So let's just push and push and push and push. And even when it's not right, sometimes you just keep pushing. So if you're listening to this, if you've got this far through, please, for your future and maybe for the joy of people that you can reach through your music, through your art, sit with that question. Is the project that I'm in with a capital T and a capital H and a capital E, is it the project? Is it the one that is going to turn into a career? Is it the one that I'm going to be able to devote all of my energy to? Is it the one that's going to bring me happiness and an income? Is it original? Is there something about it that doesn't exist yet? Do I love it? All those questions. Are the people that are involved in it the people? Or is someone flaky? And if you're honest with the answers to those questions, you'll be on a better path as long as you implement the answers correctly. So there we go. Potentially a bit of a deep one there, but I like to try and catch myself from time to time with questions like this. This is a big one that I like to present to my students early on because it makes them think. And for some people, it can just be a trajectory shift quite early on at a point where it can make a difference. But you've got, everything is ahead of you. Absolutely everything is ahead of you. And making a smart decision now can have a huge positive impact down the way. So thank you very much. This was another Tea Time with Jay. Sans tea, though. No cup of tea. I'm going to go and make a tea in a minute just to feel like I'm authentic. And I'll catch you on another one of these a little later in the week. If there's any topics you'd like me to cover in these conversations, leave a comment down below. I will definitely consider whatever you guys want me to talk about. I've got loads of ideas of my own, but I'm always up for hearing what you guys want to hear about. And yeah, like and subscribe. I have to say that. And if you're a drummer, go and check out jpostones.com. Get yourself a free trial on there if you're trying to get better at the drums. And I'll see you in the next one.